Hey, what's going on, everybody? It's your man EGlaze for another edition of EGlaze Chronicles right here on the OTV Media Network. I am your host, EGlaze, and I am especially excited to be joined by Olympian, an amazing race competitor. Also does a lot more in the business community as well. Happy to have her on. Miss Lavonne Idlette on the show. How are you doing?
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this. I want to start with this. Your thought on this weird pandemic in the Olympics having to shift from 2020 to 2021 this year. You're an athlete who competed in that. What do you think? What do you think some of the mindsets of some of these Olympians is going to be trying to prepare for this year?
I think that it kind of depends at what stage you are in your career. So most of the people that I know are my age. And so they're like, stop trying to drag out my retirement. So they're like a little bit frustrated by having to go another year to continue to prepare for their last Olympic Games. And they typically would have had a championship this year anyway, which is the World Championship. It bookends the Olympic Games. But so for younger athletes, I think that they are a little frustrated just because like getting your name out and getting your mark on the world stage comes from the Olympics. So they're kind of just like, I'm trying to prove myself, and but the one thing that I've been trying to explain to them is everybody cares about the run up to the Olympics. So the fact that they pushed it out gave you more time to do marketing, gave you more time to gain sponsorships and that kind of stuff. Because no one cares. After it's over, it's going to be like, yay, you got a gold medal.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. It's kind of like, yeah, you just, I never thought about it from their perspective. The ones who are a little longer in the tooth are probably like, man, now I got to add another year to the, I was trying to wrap it up in 2020. Now I got to do a little bit. But let's talk about what do you remember about 2012 and your Olympic experience running for the Dominican Republic, the DR back in the day?
So my experience was phenomenal because I was like right in the center of my career. So like I was already pretty established. I had been to 3 world championships already. I was like, I'm going in feeling confident and just like right in the middle, like you're in your prime and getting to go there and build a lot of relationships with athletes from different countries, but also different sports was like a big deal because moving forward, I ended up like working with a lot of those people that I met at the Olympics in terms of advisory work that I do in commercial real estate. So, it's like one of those things where it's kind of serendipitous. You're there for one thing and you create lifelong relationships from it.
And I like the way you did that. I always tell people winners win. You know what I'm saying? And what would you say has been the biggest thing you learned from your days during the Olympics to business today? What did you cross over with those two things together today?
So basically, I feel like sports is very analogous to life because what you do in business for sure is you start with a vision and then you really don't know what it's going to take to get there. You just kind of like doing the little things that, you are intuitively taught or you have a coach or you have some like framework, but you're not sure if it's going to be a win. You just every day put a little deposit in the bank. That's what I call workouts. Like you go every day, put a little deposit, you do it and you do it hard. So you're like, yeah, that deposit was solid, And so that when you get to the point where it's supposed to be manifesting that vision, that you're actually there. And so like in business, pretty much you do a lot of stuff you don't want to do every single day, which like me, I didn't like working out that much. Every single day you're putting those deposits in, whether it is just working on your business or working inside of your business for a short amount of time, and then to reap that fruit in the future that you foresaw without actually knowing that it would come true, but knowing that if you took the steps, it would probably manifest.
We're here right now with Olympian business lady and what I would like to say, amazing race competitor, Lavonne Idlette. And let's talk about that. Competitors compete, bottom line, and that's what it is. And not just to take on that, but I see things like that and I run from them because it's been a long time since I've been in athletics. But for you, talk about that experience. I saw some of the interviews you did leading up to it. You did it with your friend. Talk about the experience of the Amazing Race. And did you, hate to ask, were you disappointed at the end of what went down?
So the experience was really hard, but I think it was astronomically more hard because I was retired already. Like, my expectation of my fitness level in my head was way more than my body was willing to give. Like, I would like start running really fast and then be like, whoa, buddy, you have a 20-pound backpack on. Hold your horses. Your lungs wasn't ready. But doing it with my friend obviously was phenomenal. She was probably the perfect person for me to pick to do it with because we have similar personalities but displayed differently. So like she gets frustrated and loud and I'm like, no, chill, we'll be straight. And so but very competitive nonetheless. But in terms of disappointment, I was definitely disappointed to be out so soon. Like, bro, we're way better than this. But also like just realizing how easy it is to just be in a bunch of bad circumstances back to back. Like literally whenever we're in the competition, we're good to go. But when you are working from behind, there becomes frustration, and then you just like it's all the crazy things that are beyond your control. It's just like, I guess it wasn't meant for us to win the Amazing Race. But I've been like on a strong Twitter campaign, like invite us back. We deserve to be in All Stars. Like y'all cheated us of our glory.
I think you needed another run myself. I'd love to see y'all back. So we'll get that. What is your life philosophy in everything that you do? You seem to be you achieve high achievement. What is that life philosophy that you go through, whether it's in business, it's in athletics? What is the thing that you like to say and hold yourself to when it comes to your philosophy on anything that you do in
life? Once you've decided that it's the thing that you're going to do, figure out the steps and do it. Don't make excuses. And don't give yourself options. Like literally the reason why I was like able to survive law school and training for the Olympics at the same time was just like, okay, I have practice from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. I have class from 2:30 to 7 p.m. every day. How do you make that work? How do you actually study, live a life, still have friends, still maintain some balance? It was just about being diligent and doing it. So once you decide, just do it. If you don't give yourself the option, you don't even have a minute to say, I'm tired, or this sucks, or it's not possible, because you're just living it. And then after you know it, it's like over. You're like, dang, I did that.
That's awesome, because a lot of us, we don't realize that, because, commitment is a big thing. And I think a lot of people who are successful are finding that out, that some commitment is a big thing. What is it that, if you had to say, I always ask this question to people, whenever you're doing something, what keeps you up at night? What makes you not be able to sleep? Is it anything that just makes you say, man, I need to do this better, or this worries me, or anything like
that? So excitement keeps me up at night. Whenever I'm like working on a big project, because it's always like huge in my head. Like, okay, this is the vision. How am I going to make this happen? Like, who do I need on the team to make it happen? It's just like my brain in silence and in darkness works better than like when I'm sitting at my computer and all that kind of stuff. So I just, I stay up really late whenever I'm working on something new, for sure, just like in total excitement, like, oh man, I gotta get this person, I know I can do these things. And so that definitely keeps me up. The other thing that really, I would say the one thing that like worries me in life is the human factor. So although 2021 for me is all about collaboration and like how I can bring together stronger teams and all that stuff, but people are an X factor. You literally don't know what people are thinking or what their motives are, or what they intend to do, or if they can actually deliver the things they promise. So it's hard. It's hard to learn the balance of people. And so that keeps me up at night sometimes. It's like, what they did today at that meeting was kind of weird. What's that about? Like, you know, you're talking to yourself like.
Very interesting. What were you doing? What were you thinking about over there? So let me ask this though. You talked about how you were able to take what your career in track and field, and then you moved it over to real estate. And that becomes, how do you balance competition with collaboration? I heard you say that's going to be your thing for 2021. But how do you balance that and make sure that you're able to do it in a good way, that you bring people on, but you also have to make sure that you want to be the best in whatever field that you do it in?
So the thing about competition for me is always like, you bring people around who are strong so that you have to rise to the occasion and be more strong all the time. You don't want to be surrounded by people who don't push you. That's literally the mindset of a person who doesn't want to grow. So I embrace the idea of competition, but at the same time realizing like a person can do exactly what I do and never do it like me. Because of me, it's like, it's different. And so I focus on like building myself and not necessarily not worrying about the other person, but it's more so about like, hey, what do you do strong? Can we do that together? If we can, let's do it. If we can't, I wish you well. And it's all love either way. And so that's pretty much how I look at most things.
Hey, we're here right now on EGlaze Chronicles with my guest, Olympian Lavonne Idlette, who's also got law degree, MBA. She just got it all, Olympian and all that. Talk to me. I'm a track and field person. I love track and field. Talk about the time you ran 12:77. Talk about that time.
Okay, so the first time it was probably 2013. And I was coming off of what I would consider to be like a great fall preparation. Like you can tell when things are just about to be like, it's going to be popping because of the way that you feel when you're like doing the stuff you hate. Right. And so when the race actually was at our home track where we trained, which I've actually run way faster in these like time trials, which is some BS, by the way. You know, I get into the race and, you know, one of my training partners to one side, a person that I did not necessarily, I'm not going to say I ain't like her. I'm going to just say, in the world of rivalrous things, you like your training partners and it's death to everybody else. So, like, I want my training partner to run fast. Everybody else in, you know. So, I just focused on making sure I executed my race. Like I get out of the block really fast. So the biggest thing for me is staying calm and not like backing off when the hurdles start coming fast, which is like 6, 7, 8. Usually I do something weird and like slow down, and that it gives people the ability to catch me and like overtake me sometimes. So that race was more about like stay on your toes. If it comes faster, embrace it. And pretty much that's all hurdles is. Learning to embrace running at things full speed, which is like such a life lesson.
You talked about speaking to the younger generation and helping out people today. What are some of the advice you give them? And, you know, you talk to somebody, I'm sure people come to you because they know your background and ask you, but these younger generation of hurdlers and Olympians and track and field athletes and athletes in general, when they get a chance to talk to you, what are some of the advice that you like to give to them and to tell them about preparing for greatness? Because a lot of people can't do what you guys did or what you've done. That's a higher level that a lot of us can't reach. But to get to that level, what's some of the advice you give to them?
So I have like 3 things that I tell everybody. 1, find a group and a coach that you trust that respect and honor you. So they're going to help you build. They're going to be positive in your life, even though y'all are making each other work hard every single day. Like that's such a big deal. Number 2 is to allow yourself to go through the journey, realizing that every different level of competition has a different requirement. So yeah, you was a great high school athlete, you was a great college athlete. When you become a pro, you don't have the flexibility that you did as a great high school athlete, where the margins of goodness is like humongous. Everybody's good as a pro. So then you have to like learn to give yourself grace and time to like build, because every single one of your races need to be pro-like, which is a lot of responsibility. The third and most important thing is to like remember that you're a person, and don't take Twitter commentary, everybody else, financial advisors, whoever else around you, so seriously, because they're going to be very critical about your performance. They're going to be very critical about the decisions you make. They're going to be very critical about every single thing, because they're looking at your life through a microscope, not living it. So, you know, take what they got to say as a grain of salt. They don't know your life.
I think everybody becomes super knowledgeable on the sidelines. I like to say everybody knows everything when you're sitting in the stands. I done ran this way. Okay, get out here first. So, let me ask you this. I ask you what keeps you up at night, but what's your biggest motivation?
Ooh, my biggest motivation is that I stand on the shoulders of giants. So like my grandfather started this legacy in the 50s, starting companies, chairman of the school board, just overall overachiever in a time frame where you weren't really supposed to be achieving. It was like a thing. So having his legacy, my father building on that, and then me coming into like, how can I make this legacy bigger, better for the entire family, so that, you know, when we are more generations down, it's like, yo, we really built that. Like, she contributed.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Let me ask you this, because I being someone who's a competitor, what's the difference? I know the difference, but I got to ask this. Between competition in shape and just day-to-day in shape. What do you tell people? I mean, when you're in competition, you have to force yourself to get in shape. But when you're day-to-day, it's like, I really want to go to the gym. How do you work through that? You know, because there's a high level, and it's like, I just got to stay in shape. Talk to us about the differences in that.
Ooh. So I'm not going to act like I mastered that subject, because the only reason I work out is so I don't have to buy new clothes. So 100% finding a motivational thing to do, because now once you don't have a competition, it literally feels like you're going in there to do what? Like, what do you have to prove? I have nothing. And then the only way you know how to work out is super hard. So like, why am I working out so hard? Did I just need a spotter? Like, spotter for what? Like, you're doing too much. Like, that's literally the way that I talk to myself in the gym. Like, never doing anything that needs a spot again. Lower the weight. Like,
right, exactly.
like I literally find motivation now in like just going with my friends, or like, you know, wanting to not be fat. That's it. It's like the most minimal, which is why I'm not like in shape. I'm just like, you know, just not bad.
I love that. I love that. Let me ask you this. You know, when people look up Lavonne on social media or whatever, what is the thing that you want them to see when they look your name up? What are the things that they want to be able to get from you when you say, I looked her up, wow, she did this, this, and this. But what are the things that you're most proud of and you're happy that they'll be able to see when they Google your name or look you up or anything like that?
I would say that they would take, wow, she's done the most things ever that like don't seem to go together, but because it's possible to be limitless, and like, don't let people keep you in a box of like, you can only do one thing, you can only be great at one thing, you can only whatever it is that they've limited their own beliefs to. So that's one major thing. The other thing is like the things that I do to give back to the community. So everything I do around advisory, speaking to the youth, and like in my personal investments is all around community development and like building happier, healthier families, so that, you know, we can reduce violence and Like, stop letting people have such traumatic childhoods.
Sorry about that. I want to just end it with this, and I thank you for coming on so much, Lala. But I want to end it with this. I want people to know you kind of led to one of my last things I wanted to talk about was what you have going on now. You have a lot going on, but some of the things that you're working on now, some of the things that you got going on, you talk about the community, you talk about the real estate and all that. I just want to see people to see your drive and all the things that you're into and doing right now. Because I think somebody, it's like I said before, you do a lot of things. You do a lot of great things. So tell people everything that you have going on now and where they can find you at for assistance and things of that nature.
Whew. Okay, so my focus right now is making sure that underrepresented builders, flippers, investors have access to capital. So I'm building capital sources to be able to be a catalyst for that. My goal is 1 million new homeowners and investors in 3 years, sparked by the efforts that we are doing. We're also, we're buying finance companies to roll into the company that we have now because, of course, collaboration. I can't reach 1 million people by myself or my small team right now. The other thing is that we invest in community. So we buy retail in what people call quote unquote hood. We also buy apartment complexes and build affordable housing. So if you are interested in those sorts of things and you want to be involved, you can always go to my website, LavonneIdlette.com. You can also find me on Instagram, Lala Hurdles 2, on LinkedIn. I am always willing to be the quote unquote word sponsor for an introduction to anybody you need. Just reach out and ask. You need something, just ask. That all I can say is I don't know a person, but I might know a person that knows a person. So that's pretty much it with me at the moment. I do have a book. It's an ebook. So if you're not into reading online, it will be a real book next year, maybe in the summer. I will work on it. And it's called Confidence, the Antidote to Fear. It mainly talks about like how I've gotten into as many things as I have, and been able to, take them to a level of success to me, which is measured marginally, whatever. I'm happy.
Oh, I have to ask this then. You just open it up for me. Where did you get that confidence from? Where did it come from? I mean, that's very important to have that. I love that title, Confident. I love that book title. So where did that come from for you?
So the real reason that I know that I have a lot of confidence is that like my parents never gave me limiting thoughts. Like literally, if I said I want to sell donuts on the moon, they'd be like, what's the plan? How you gonna do it? And like challenge me to get the things that I wanted to get by just never ever saying no, it's impossible, you can't. And so and just building me up to say, because what I really believe confidence is you thinking something, seeing it through and watching yourself do it, and then you're like, wow, I really can do these things. And so just build. Confidence is a muscle. You have to build it.
I put is that the right website up there? I want to make sure that's right. That's the website, LavonneIdlette.com. Make sure y'all can check her out. And one last question for me, Lala. Importance of investments and ownership. You bring it up. You talking about you want to get 1 million people in the ownership. How important that is for our community to be able to do that. And I like what you're doing where you're going in and investing and doing things like that. But how important is that for our community to invest, to home ownership and things of that nature?
It's the most important thing because if you want to have control over what is in your environment, you have to own it so that you can have a say, so you can have collaborative conversations about it. You can go to the land use meetings and say, I don't want you to put a new Amazon fulfillment center down the street from my house because it's going to bring more traffic or it is. So the more we have representation in our ownership in our own community, our voice is heard more. So as much as it may seem like good ideas just to be loud, no one listens if there's not economics behind it. So got to put some pressure on your local politicians. If you own stuff, they're gonna start listening.
And I totally agree, because we voted in numbers this year, but it'd be great to vote and own our property at the same time. So now not only are we controlling the box, but we're controlling the property that's surrounding you as well. So I think that's a very important thing. So I'm glad you brought that up, especially in these times. So Laura, I appreciate you coming on. Again, can you please let everybody know where they can find you at one more time before we go off the air?
Yes, you can find me on Instagram at Lala Hurdles 2, on Twitter at Idlette, on LinkedIn at Lavonne Idlette, and LavonneIdlette.com is my website.
Thank you so much for coming on. I appreciate it. Appreciate you coming on. Thank you for everybody who listened. Make sure you go follow my friend Lavonne. And another episode of the EGlaze Chronicles is in the books. We thank you guys for coming on. Remember to always optimize your vision, and we'll see you again next time. Bye.